There's a reason God walks quietly beside Virgo, not for their strength, but for their softness. Not because they're perfect, but because they endlessly try to be even when no one sees. Virgo holds the blueprint of divine order in a disordered world. And because they carry so much for others, heaven carries them. In the silence of their service, a sacred covenant is written. Watch this to the end, and you won't just understand Virgo. You'll uncover why the universe guards what is holy, humble, and hidden, and why Virgo may be the greatest secret God ever kept. In the beginning, there was only stillness, a quiet pulse in the dark, the heartbeat of order rhythm, sacred design. And from that pulse emerged a pattern, not loud, like fire, not sweeping like wind, not fluid like water, but grounded, deliberate, exact. The fingerprint of God pressed into form. That fingerprint is Virgo. Virgo is not born to conquer. Virgo is born to repair. They are the soul who enters the world, not asking what can I take, but rather what needs mending. And this, above all, is why God protects Virgo, because they are guardians of the invisible balance. Where others chase power or pleasure, Virgo walks toward responsibility, quietly, carefully, faithfully. They tend the spaces no one notices, the thread unraveling the dish, left behind the aching word unspoken. In a world obsessed with noise, Virgo honors the silence between things, and in that silence, they hear God's voice. They are the sacred architects of refinement, not because they seek perfection out of pride, but because they feel at a soul level that everything broken deserves to be whole again. Every dish placed in order, every thought clarified, every body healed. They are midwives of integrity, delivering purity into a world that has forgotten how to value it. Virgo's element is earth, but not the raw, untamed wilds of Taurus, nor the lofty summits of Capricorn. Virgo is the cultivated earth, the garden, the place where humanity meets divinity through care, through intention, through routine. They are the gardener who wakes at dawn, not for glory, but because the plants must be watered, the harvest must be gathered, the people must be fed. This is the geometry of their soul, sacred, humble, exact. When Virgo aligns a room, a plan, a sentence, a life, they are not being controlling. They are restoring the holy pattern. They are remembering the original code before it was scattered by chaos. They are weaving the divine back into the thread of the ordinary. And because they do this unseen, because they ask for nothing, because their striving comes not from ego, but devotion, God watches over them. This is the soul who will clean the temple floor barefoot, unseen, while others speak from the pulpit. This is the soul who notices your pain before you name it, who places the medicine beside your bed without needing thanks, who hears God not in thunder, but in the whisper of clean sheets, sharpened pencils, the right word at the right time. Virgo does not serve to be seen. They serve because something sacred moves through them, and God protects what carries the sacred. So when life seems unfair to Virgo, when their effort is overlooked, their worry misunderstood, their care mistaken for criticism, remember this: God sees what no one else does. The sweat on their brow, the ache in their heart, the list they never finish, the prayers they say for others. This is the blueprint of holy work. This is the geometry of service. And this is why heaven follows Virgo's steps, not with fanfare, but with quiet wings. She was once a goddess, Demeter, mother of the grain, the harvest, the sacred cycle of nourishment and loss. And when her daughter Persephone was stolen into the underworld, it was Demeter who wandered the earth in mourning, refusing to let the crops grow, letting all life wither until the balance was restored. Virgo remembers this myth not in stories but in her bones. She is the descendant of Demeter's grief and the steward of her sacred patience. Virgo is not merely a sign, she is a living archetype of devotion, of seasonal wisdom, of caretaking the world even when it wounds her. She moves through life, holding the lantern of the harvest maiden, one eye on the soil, the other on the stars. This is the paradox. Virgo holds the duty to sustain life, and the ache of knowing she cannot control what comes or goes. She offers, she tends, she prays, and still the world breaks. People leave, perfection falters, but she never stops offering, because deep within her soul, Virgo knows the truth to give, even when the outcome is uncertain, is divine. This is why God protects her. Because Virgo does not sow in certainty, she sows in faith. She prepares the ground, not knowing if the seeds will bloom. She nurses the wounded, not knowing if they'll heal. She gives her time, her mind, her care, not for outcome, but for offering. And this echoes the oldest spiritual law: what is given in purity is never forgotten by the divine. Every Virgo carries the symbolism of the wheat in her hand, the fruit of devotion, harvested from effort no one sees. And yet, like Demeter, she must often face the heartbreak of being unseen, unacknowledged, even punished for the depth of her care. But she endures, because hers is not the path of glory, it is the path of guardianship. She is Earth's priestess, ritualistic, meticulous, and unwavering. In every schedule, she builds; in every process, she improves; in every body she heals. Virgo is preserving the sacred, and if she seems obsessive, it's because she remembers a time when every act was ceremony, every table set with reverence, every detail offered to the gods. That memory is alive in her still. And so she organizes the chaotic, tends to the neglected, weaves the unspoken laws of decency and order back into a culture of collapse. She does not shout. She doesn't need to. Her quiet labor reshapes the world beneath everyone's feet. And that is no small magic. God protects Virgo because Virgo protects life itself. Not just bodies, but systems, ethics, clean water, honest work, functional homes, quiet peace. Virgo is not the roar of revolution. She is the maintenance of civilization, the subtle, vital, holy work of keeping things from falling apart. She walks through life like Demeter, after the storm gathering what remains, sowing again, with a tired but faithful heart. And for that, heaven bows. In the heavens, Mercury dances closest to the sun, swift-footed, ever-moving, a messenger between worlds. In Gemini, Mercury speaks loudly, playfully, endlessly curious. But in Virgo, Mercury kneels, silent, focused, devotional. Virgo is Mercury's sacred priestess, not the entertainer but the editor, not the speaker but the scribe. And this is the deeper mystery few understand. Virgo doesn't just communicate, she consecrates. She takes divine inspiration and refines it, purifies it, grounds it into forms that heal and serve. Where Gemini gathers, Virgo distills. Where others talk, Virgo translates God's will into daily medicine. This is why God protects Virgo, because she safeguards the clarity of truth. In a world polluted by noise, deceit, distraction, Virgo stands as a vessel of exactness. Every word she chooses is weighed against conscience, every message filtered through integrity. She will not say what sounds good, she says what is right. Not easy but necessary. And though this truth-telling can cut, it is always an act of love. Virgo's correction is not condemnation, it is care. Like a sacred alchemist, she works in the realm of systems and sentences of data and digestion of body and belief, refining everything she touches. She doesn't seek attention for this. Often her work is invisible, but her role is no less divine. She is the cosmic proofreader of existence, removing what is false, aligning what is real, so that higher meaning may flow through. Think of the monks who transcribed ancient texts in candlelit silence. Think of Florence Nightingale, organizing the chaos of battlefield hospitals. Think of those who compile the rituals, correct the formulas, safeguard the codes. That is Virgo. Quiet, exacting, essential, the channel through which clarity becomes survival. In this way, Mercury's blessing in Virgo is not verbal charisma, it is diagnosis. It is the sharpness of intellect fused with the softness of service, the ability to sense when something is off, even if no one else can name it. Virgo intuits the flaw in the structure, the error in the equation, the imbalance in the body, and she moves swiftly and silently to correct it. This isn't control, it's compassion. She knows the cost of imbalance. She's lived it. So she brings logic where there is confusion, healing where there is damage, precision where there is disarray. And in every moment she does so, without reward, without recognition, the divine draws nearer to her. Because Virgo doesn't channel divinity through grand gestures. She does it through the spreadsheet, the prescription, the punctuality, the perfectly chosen word that keeps someone from collapsing. Her life is a form of sacred literacy, the ability to read the codes behind reality and revise them toward wholeness. That's not just intelligence, that's wisdom in service to love. And in a world too drunk on spectacle, to notice the quiet minds holding it together, God notices. God protects the ones who protect the message. Virgo is one of them. She is Mercury's most disciplined vessel, and through her heaven becomes legible. In the tapestry of existence, perfection is not the absence of flaw, but the acceptance of the flaw as sacred, a unique thread in the divine embroidery. Virgo, the gentle critic of the cosmos, knows that purity is not achieved by erasing every imperfection, but by embracing them as stepping stones toward a higher truth. Herein lies the profound paradox of her spirit, an unyielding quest for wholeness, forged in the very furnace of vulnerability. Imagine a delicate sculpture etched by time and trial, where every chisel mark is both a scar and a testimony of existence. Virgo's soul carries these marks like celestial calligraphy, each imperfection a verse in a prayer. In every moment when she recognizes her own limitations, she mirrors the cosmic dance of creation. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not conceal its chaos, but transforms it into beauty. God protects Virgo precisely because she sees the raw and unvarnished truth in her own being, turning what many perceive as weakness into profound strength. It is in the gentle admission of imperfection that Virgo discovers her divine inheritance. She stands in the quiet aftermath of human error, not with judgment, but with a reverence for what is left unspoken. She knows that every dropped detail, every stray thought is not a crack to be filled, but an opening through which light can enter. In the crumbling facades of broken systems and wounded hearts, Virgo discerns a luminous quality, a hint of the sacred, woven through the imperfections of existence. Her perfection is found not in perfection itself, but in the honest reflection of a world perpetually in need of healing. At the altar of her daily life, Virgo offers up her confessions of incompleteness. With every meticulous act, a note corrected, a meal prepared with mindful love, a plan reoriented by gentle recalibration, she reveals that beauty and order are not results of flawlessness, but the art of constant refinement. Virgo's commitment to this work is more than routine. It is an act of devotion, a daily rekindling of the sacred connection between self and cosmos. She does not seek to erase her imperfections, for in their light she sees the silhouettes of angels and the echoes of ancient wisdom. In the quiet chambers of her heart, where every doubt is met with patient resolve, Virgo learns that humility is a form of purification. When the mirror of her soul reflects back both the splendor and the blemishes, she does not recoil, but offers a silent benediction, an acceptance that in every crack the divine spark still burns. This delicate balance between striving for better and accepting what is the very essence of what it means to be Virgo. And so, God watches over this humble artisan of life, understanding that in her relentless quest for improvement, there lies an infinite compassion. With each imperfect step, Virgo teaches us that divinity is not found in flawless statues, but in the living, breathing energy of those who dare to mend the broken with care. Her struggles transform into sermons of hope, her errors into epics of renewal. In this sacred interplay between imperfection and refinement, the universe bestows its protection upon Virgo, sheltering her as a keeper of the authentic and the true. For in her honest labor, in the acceptance of her most human frailties, she reverberates with the very heartbeat of creation itself. You may never see her coming. She doesn't demand the spotlight. She doesn't clamor for applause. And yet without her, everything would quietly unravel. Virgo is the invisible guardian, the silent protector of what holds us together. Not the hero in armor, but the one who stitches the armor back together after the battle. The one who shows up when everyone else is too tired, too scattered, too overwhelmed. She is not loud in her power, but she is immovable in her presence. This is why God protects Virgo, because Virgo protects everyone else. She sees the things others overlook: the trembling lip, the missed detail, the micro fractures in a breaking soul. She doesn't need to be asked. She notices, she responds, without recognition, without resentment. Because Virgo isn't moved by praise, she's moved by purpose. Her care is not sentimental, it is functional. And yet beneath the practicality, there is infinite tenderness, a compassion so deep, it often hides behind her precision, as if her very competence is a veil for her vulnerability. Virgo holds your world together while quietly unraveling inside. And still, she shows up, not out of obligation, but out of love. There's something profoundly Christ-like in this, not in doctrine, but in energy. The willingness to wash feet while others debate greatness. The choice to tend wounds rather than seek rewards. Virgo carries that holy humility. And in a world addicted to spectacle, she remains a sanctuary of substance. She will organize your chaos, translate your pain into a plan, and bear your burden without ever saying, "Look what I've done." Because her reward is in the restoration itself, in seeing things whole again, clean again, functional again. She finds divinity in the simple return to order, like the first breath after panic, the first clean sheet on a weary bed. And God sees what no one else does. Every moment Virgo held back tears to be strong for others. Every late night spent fixing what someone else broke. Every time she swallowed her own needs because someone needed her more. This is sacred labor, unseen, but never unfelt in the eyes of the divine. She is not just the helper, she is the healer, the planner, the protector, the servant sage, whose emotional labor keeps the wheel turning. And though the world may forget to thank her, the universe never does. Her name is written in places, unseen in ledgers, only angels carry. And this is the deepest truth. Virgo walks closest with God because she walks closest with the broken, the outcast, the sick, the disorganized, the drowning, the despairing. She kneels before them without judgment, offers what is needed, and moves on. There is no ego in her care, no need to be exalted, which is precisely why the divine exalts her in spirit. In a time when power is loud and kindness is rare, Virgo is protected not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. She becomes the vessel through which God reaches others. Through her hands, order is restored. Through her eyes, truth is seen. Through her heart, others are made whole. And so she is shielded not with armor, but with grace. There is a moment before dawn, silent, unnoticed, yet sacred. Suspended between darkness and light, it is the space where intention is born. That moment is Virgo, not the spotlight, but the soul behind the altar, preparing the world to remember what is holy. Virgo doesn't crave glory, she craves alignment, not perfection for perfection's sake, but as a devotion to something higher. Where others rush, she refines. Where others guess, she knows, because within her lives a sacred geometry, a blueprint etched by the divine. Her duty is not to control the world, it is to restore its order. God protects Virgo because she protects the design, the integrity, the structure that lets grace move freely, not through spectacle, but through the small a clean bandage, It kept promise a soul seen in its mess and helped anyway. Virgo holds space for these things, and in doing so, she holds space for God. This is why history remembers her through saints and scientists, healers and scribes. From Da Vinci's divine proportions to Mother Teresa's quiet service, Virgo energy moves through them all, not escaping life, but sanctifying it through humble action. And so Virgo walks on imperfect, but aligned, weary, but unwavering, because she knows it is not the grand gesture, but the daily devotion that draws the divine near. And God always walks beside her,